Idea. I always think that it's better to start brainstorming with your teammates. Typically, one member of the team has the kernel of an idea, they'll become the company. But it's always best, before that gets too solidified, to discuss it with your teammates so that everyone buys in and gets ownership. We tend to like companies who are trying to solve personal problems. Every investor says that. The real thing is, we like companies where the founders know what the hell the companies are doing and know what the problem is. So if it's not solving your problem, it should be solving a problem that you're very, very aware of. And then the other thing I tell founders is try to focus on daily and weekly problems as opposed to monthly or yearly problems. It's a lot easier to do something like Uber. The typical person in America has to figure out how to get somewhere 3 times a day. It's a lot harder to do a car sales website. The typical person in America only buys a car once every 7 years. Try to focus on daily and weekly problems. It tends to be a lot more successful. Market. This is an area that people talk so much about. Do an hour of research. Figure out whether there are billions of dollars being made in your market, and use your competitor's product. After that, I don't care. Legal. If you guys are interested in raising money in the US, you're gonna have to incorporate in the US. That is a very, very, very simple process. For $250 and Clerky.com, you can have an American company and you can raise money from American investors. Yeah, that's easy. Let's demystify that. MVP, most viable product. This is where most companies will screw up. Where most companies will screw up is on team. This is the second place most companies will screw up. How can you get something into people's hands? I can't tell you, I've done this many times myself. The number one piece of advice we give to YC companies before they launch is launch. I can't tell you how many people will just sit there and iterate before users ever see anything. So when I ask a company how long is it going to take to launch, I always just ask them, why does it take longer than 2 months? I don't care what it is. I don't care if they haven't started yet. You should be able to build something in 2 months and get it in front of users. This is just saying it one more time. You're nothing until you launch. So how do you achieve growth? I would say that for the typical Silicon Valley investor, this is the number one metric for determining whether you're going to raise money. It's not team. It's not past experience. It's not fancy investors. It's growth. So typically you're going to go one of 3 places. One, you're going to experiment with ads. I tend to like that strategy the least. The second, if you're B2B, you really want to focus on reference customers. The customers who you can provide amazing service to, who is going to talk to other people in their industry and spread the word about you. The last one, if you're doing anything related to consumer, whether it's consumer services, social media, etc., usage should equal sharing. I can't tell you how many founders I've talked to said, oh, I'm going to make my thing go viral. Well, if you want to make your thing go viral, it doesn't mean just adding a share button. The very fact that people are using your product has to create some type of sharing that has to be built in from day one. And so don't think of sharing as an extra activity or a side activity. Think of it as 100% part of using your product. All right, press. A lot of people think that they need to hire someone to do their PR. At Justin TV, me and my co-founder had a little competition on how much money we've wasted, and we'd write it up on a whiteboard. And every time we wasted money, we'd write it up there and add it up. I've wasted over $150,000 on PR firms. So I'm giving this advice because I don't want you to do the same thing. 99% of PR in the early stage, you can do yourself. The best piece of advice I've been given about PR, the thing that completely changed my whole perception, is that PR is exactly like business development. When you're trying to do a BD deal, you get a warm introduction, you follow up, you build a relationship, and you provide something of value. When you're dealing with press, it's the exact same thing. You need to get an introduction from someone, hopefully, who that reporter has always written about. You need to be able to structure your pitch so that it's real news, something launching, money being raised, a significant hire, a significant new BD deal. You can't just expect the profile piece. And what you need to do is make sure you treat that as a relationship. Once you have a reporter who's written about you, you've got to follow up with them. That becomes a very, very important relationship that can continue to provide value if you continue to follow up. PR, very simple, and don't spend money.